Good morning, everybody. I'm Barbie from PCM. Thank you for joining us today for our PCM and Lenovo Think Server and Storage Solutions webcast. Today we're joined by David Nemiroff, the Enterprise Solutions Specialist at Lenovo, and we're also joined by Ali Valenciano, the Channel Account Executive at Lenovo. Gentlemen, would you like to introduce yourselves a little bit more?
Sure. Good morning. My name is Dave Nemiroff, and I do handle servers and storage for PCM through Lenovo. So I'm responsible for the entire server and storage line, and actually been at Lenovo now for almost about 2 years.
Very good. Ali Valenciano, I handle the relationship between Lenovo and PCM. And I also want to thank all of you for joining us, taking time out of your busy day. It's a very interesting topic we have today. We've got Dave again, who's going to talk about servers and storage. And a lot of new exciting things going on. So Dave, why don't you take it?
I appreciate that. And once again, also, thank you all for joining us. So we're going to kind of go into this overview of the Think Server and Storage Solutions. Going to talk some product, going to talk some solutions, kind of got to give you guys just a better feel of the overall product and portfolio. Kind of going in of why servers. So give you a quick history about Lenovo and about our market and what we're working in. You know, we've actually been in the industry for almost 18 years now. We've got a 15% share, market share in China, and we're actually tied with IBM for number 3 in share over there. We did power the 2008 Olympics, but the big focus now and nowadays is that PC Plus, that moving on out of the PC environments towards tablets, towards the phablets, towards touch, and also into the enterprise. So about 2.5 years ago, Lenovo decided to start manufacturing our own servers. We had a partnership with IBM beforehand and decided to start manufacturing our own at that point. So over those past 2 years, we started to build our own servers, manufacture mostly tower models, and we started getting into the rack models. Now over the past year, we've had obviously some pretty interesting announcements, which I'll get into. But first off, you know, we've had 52% year-over-year growth, and we are the fastest growing server brand in North America. As a matter of fact, we recently passed Cisco. Now, when you do think about some exciting times, we did acquire the IBM X Series business unit. So everything from an X Series perspective is now being moved over to Lenovo. That is expecting to start integrating and closing around the August timeframe. So we're all very excited about that. As a matter of fact, the teams are starting the integration process internally, and we'll keep you abreast of what's going on with that. But with that acquisition, we are now the number 3 overall with regards to servers. So we are a major player in this market. Before the acquisition, we were number 6. So we're very excited about the commitment that the company is making. If you actually take a look to the side of the screen here, it shows PCs, smartphones, tablets, and servers and storage. Lenovo, as a matter of fact, is the only one of the 4 major manufacturers to be able to say we play in all facets of this business. So we've made commitments obviously in the PC side. We've made major commitments on the smartphone and mobility side with the Motorola acquisition. We've made major commitments on the tablets and touch side, and now with servers and storage. So we have some very exciting times here over at Lenovo. Just want to stop and make sure if there are any questions, take a quick break before I really start getting into the portfolio.
And we don't have any questions yet.
All right. So kind of getting into the Think Server portfolio, if you take a look here, you'll see this is our entire server product line. We really type and focus on the tower models and the 1U and 2U market space. We have our niche, and that's where we're going for. Now that will change once the IBM acquisition does finalize, but right now we know where we stand. So when you take a look at this product portfolio, you'll see on that top left-hand corner that RS-140. That is a 1U, kind of a rack and stack type of server. It's got 2 cable drives in there, and it's built to go into more of a data center type of environment where if something were to fail, you pull it out, you throw in a new one, along those kind of white box type of scenarios. It's also great for small offices that are kind of just getting into that server environments that actually need a rack solution. But down below that, we've got the TS-140 and 440. The TS-140 fits along the lines of that RS-140 type of system. It's a single processor system, a couple of cable drives to put in there, up to 32 gigs of memory, and it's got really not much redundancy in there, but built for that very small office or built for those kind of first server environments. A little bit of a step up from that is the TS-440. TS440 is still a single processor system, and like the 140, RS140 and the TS140, it's built on the E3 processor, so the 1225 and 1245 Xeon processors. But the TS140 can actually have 4 hot swap drives in there, and it's got a little bit more redundancy with regards to a hot swap power supply, and you can put dual in there, so that works out for those server environments that are a little more distributed, have a little bit of higher workload, but still kind of that small office mentality. Up next, you got the TD340. I'll be talking a little bit more about this system, but bottom line is that this is a dual processor tower model. You can fit up to 16 2.5-inch drives in there, or really 8 3.5-inch drives. Now this system is built on the E5 2400 series Intel Xeon processor. It's got a lot more redundancy built in. It's actually built on with our Think Management module, which is our server management tool. The other models, the TS140, the TS440, and the RS140, actually use the Intel AMT 9.0. So they're all great server management suites, but as we start moving up the stack, we start utilizing more of the Lenovo management suite. As you start looking up the chain more, you have the RD340 and the RD440. This is where we get into those 1U and 2U rack solutions with multiple drives and multiple redundant options. So the RD340 is a 1U dual socket E5 2400 series processor that you can fit up to 6 2.5-inch drives in there, or 4 3.5-inch drives. We do use SAS, we use SATA, and we use solid state drives in these systems. This RD340 also has redundant options with redundant power, and you can put in at this point multiple PCI slots for additional internet cards or video cards, HBAs, so it has those redundant options. Moving up a little bit further than that is the RD440. Now the RD440 is just like the RD340, except now we're talking about a 2U system. Having a 2U system enables more capacity, more attachments in there, whether it be more hard drives, more PCI slots, some additional full-length PCI slots, but it's all still built on the E5 2400 series systems. Moving up the stack a little more is the RD540 and the RD640. Now the RD540 and 640 are built for more higher end applications. They're actually optimized for VMware or Hyper-V. So essentially they are fully optimized for the virtual environments. Now the RD540 and RD640 are built on the E5 2600 series systems. So these have better optimization than the 340 and 440. But just like the 340 and 440, the 540 is a 1U and the 640 is a 2U. You have the same type of drive sets, whether it be SATA, SAS, or solid state drives built into these systems, and multiple PCI slots in those 2U systems with some limited PCI slots in the 1U systems. So this is the entire server portfolio right here. We focus on that niche. We focus on that kind of 1,000 user and under distributed small office type of environments. As I mentioned, that will change with the IBM acquisition, and what the IBM acquisition once again does is kind of fast tracks our strategy by about 5 years. So this is still kind of a business as usual story right now with what we're doing with our servers. Now when we kind of look over our storage portfolio, yes, Lenovo is in the storage market as well. This is kind of where we focus on with regards to what you can utilize and what you can use. When you take a look at this screenshot right here, you'll see several different products. Now these products focus either from the desktop up to the rack, and it's either network attached storage or direct attached storage, so NAS or DAS. We don't have any SAN options right now or True iSCSI. Now when I talk about that, when you look at the iX2 and the iX4, these are part of our NAS products, and these were brought over when we acquired a 51% stake of iOmega. These desktop storage systems are great for the home and small office environments, great for backup, file print sharing, very consumer type of oriented type of systems. Then as you go up the stack a little bit, we start getting into the PX series. The PX series is considered that professional grade type of systems. we have the PX2, the PX4, and the PX6. Now all these are kind of labeled by how many drives they've got. So the PX2 has 2 drives, the PX4 has 4 drives, and the PX6 has 6 drives. All these are SATA based, 7200 RPM, but the great thing is that they're NAS products, so that you don't even need a server to fit them into, just plug it right into an Ethernet. Continuing up the stack some more, you start looking at that PX4 300R and the PX12 400 and 450R. These are our rack mount systems. 1U, 2U NAS appliance systems. They're great for departmental type of application. As you take a look, the PX4 still has 4 drives, and then we scale up to that PX12, which is a 12 drive machine. There's a lot more redundancy built in with dual power supplies, and you can even include the 10 gig card option. Now, as I mentioned, these are network attached, and we can use these systems as iSCSI targets, but a little caveat, that is not true iSCSI. We've had some customers come out and ask for true iSCSI. We don't play in that market just yet, but these are some great products from a network attached perspective. And then, as you look to the far right, we have our SA120. Now, this is a brand new announcement for us. I believe announced in February, if I remember. Started shipping around the April timeframe, but this is a great storage play for those of you that need additional storage right off the server. It is direct attach. It's got 12 bays in there for up to 48 terabytes on the front end, and then on the back end 4 solid state drives for additional fast cache. I'm going to go into a little further detail about this further in the presentation, but just wanted to kind of show off what we have in summary from the start.
Hey, Dave, can you talk a little bit about the SSDs for fast cache and how beneficial it is for the customer, as well as I understand that it's not available with our competitors' like product?
Yes, that's correct, and I'll talk a little further about that in more detail, but bottom line is you can actually install 4 SSD drives into the back of the system that enables for faster I/O to and from the drives. Now, this is an option that we put into our systems that none of our competitors have been able to take advantage of, so it kind of gives us a little bit of a competitive advantage from the start. And that actually adds additional storage capacity. As I mentioned, you have 48 terabytes on the front end. Yep. You can essentially go up to about 52 terabytes now with those 4 drives on the back end.
And it improves in performance, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. It actually includes from a fast cache perspective, and what you'll be able to do is actually hit your drives faster by utilizing these solid state drives in the back rather than going directly to the drives.
That's great. That's great. Thank you.
So when you do look at our systems, we do cover your cases. And I call these kind of the 4 pillars of business. You see the branch office, the back office, infrastructure and departmental, and the virtualization, DB kind of compute. These are the 4 pillars that we mostly focus on within our servers and our storage. We are not quite in that full enterprise, heavy application loading type of environments. Those might be focused more on the quad sockets or the 4U systems that will be coming. And that will be coming with the IBM acquisition. But for the time being, this is where our main play and our main focus is on right now. So if you've got a situation where you need a branch office or you need some additional back office help, we certainly have the servers and the storage to be able to help out from that standpoint, as well as any additional back-end applications, email, SharePoint, web serving, kind of an line of business application. We can certainly fit our systems and our storage in those environments. And last but not least, as I mentioned, if you're starting to working into virtualization or computing, several VMs that you need to be going to 1632 type of VM environments, we have our systems optimized for those type of segments. So let's take a quick break here. Any questions that have popped up? Just want to make sure we're able to answer them before we move forward.
Not yet.
All right. So kind of going in further detail about each of these products. You know, we are at our current Gen 4 product portfolio, and you know, I get a lot of questions from customers and from my partners actually of how we come up with our naming nomenclature, the naming convention. Figure I'd throw it to you guys and let you guys know real quick of how we actually name our servers. So right here in front, I've labeled the RD540. It's actually pretty simple. Every one of our systems starts with an R or T, R for rack, T for tower, and then it comes along with an S or a D. Single socket for S, dual socket for D. or as we eventually will be coming out with the quads, especially with the IBM acquisition, it will be a Q in front of there. We don't have that yet here in the States. They actually are available in our Chinese marketplace. Now we go to the 540 piece. The 5, that's the positioning within the class. So since our systems really go from 1 to 6, 1 being more on the value lower end, and then the 6 is upwards in the mainstream and performance end, and we'll be increasing that as we build more of our market within the segment. Next up is our generation. So we're at our 4th generation. Now keep in mind, this is not generation of Intel's processor. This is the generation of our servers. So really in the 2.5 years, we're already now at our 4th generation of our systems. And then last but not least, you're seeing a 0 for CPU manufacturer. 0 is for Intel, 5 is for AMD. Now let's hold on. We don't have any AMD processors right now. That may be coming, and we're leaving it open just in case that partnership should arise. So when we go into now kind of a positioning from a tower perspective, as you heard me before, I talked about the TS140 being more of the first server type of option. This is you're still getting excellent E3 1200. We're at the version 3 of that processor, but you're still getting a very affordable and competitively low-cost system to put in those environments. If you don't need the hot swap drives, you don't need much redundancy, you could just throw a couple of 500 gig or terabyte cable drives in there. This might be a great option for you. Now, as you start moving up that stack, once again, we look at that TS440. That TS440 is built for higher workloads, and it's still built on the E3 1200 version 3 processor. As I mentioned, the great thing about this system is that it actually has hot swap drives. You can throw in up to 4, possibly actually even up to 8 2.5-inch hot swap drives with redundant power supplies in this system. And each of these systems, as I mentioned, are utilizing the Intel AMT 9.0 server management tool. Then you go into the TD340, and this was actually started shipping about the February to March timeframe. So this is newer to us from the standpoint of a dual processor system. And as I mentioned before, it is an E5 2400 V2 series processor. You can really get 16 drives in there. So if you've got an environment where you don't have a room for a rack, or you don't have a rack lined up, but you need that drive space, this is a great system. It's dual processor systems. We can put anywhere from the 2403 to the 2407 upwards to the 2450 and 2460 processors in there. As I mentioned, we have the SAS, SATA, and solid state drives that you can put in these systems. And the great thing is that it has that fully redundant options for redundant power and multiple Ethernet adapters. On top of that, this system utilizes the TMM tool, the Think Management Module. So this enables the actual Lenovo Management Server Suite to go along with it. Now we look at a little more in depth on this. As I mentioned, you can go up to 16 2.5-inch drives. This 2P tower is capable of putting in 192 gigs of memory. As I mentioned, you've got 10 gig Ethernet choices, advanced RAID protection, so we can do a RAID 5, RAID 6, RAID 10, RAID 60. It's up to you. The options are up to the end user what kind of RAID is put in there, but we've got the additional RAID options that you can actually install or be integrated into the systems for whatever your needs are. We use open standards, easily managed by any IPMI based tool, and we, as I mentioned, our redundant power supplies, they are gold powered, Energy Star Server 2.0 compliant. So this is a system that's considered an enterprise based system at really an SMB cost. Now, let's kind of talk a little bit more about our racks. We did a refresh of most of our racks earlier this year. Prior to the 340 and 440, we were at the 330 and 430. This allowed, with this newer announcements that started shipping earlier this year, this enabled us to kind of add that speed bump of technology, and we have that speed bump from the Intel processors as well. Then you go up the stack, we were at the 530 and 630, now we're at the 540 and 640. As you see, they are valued to mainstream type systems, but really they can be used in the enterprise, but they're at that SMB pricing. Now, when we talk about options are a big thing that we've got to include into our systems to make sure that we have total and complete redundancy. whether it be memory. As I mentioned before, you have 192 gigs on the TD340. You can do 192 gigs on the RD440 and 340 as well. And on the RD540 and 640, we can actually go up to 320 gigs. So we have plenty of room for growth within those systems. But we added advanced memory, enhanced hard drive offerings, as well as additional HBAs. We do partner with Emulex, we partner with QLogic, as well as Intel for our Ethernet card compatibility. Now, kind of the great thing about each of these options are that you can actually use multiple options per servers. What does that mean? Basically, it means that the RAID cards that you can put in a 340 or 440 will also go into a 540 and 640. The drives, they all fit within each of the same servers. So you can put a drive from a 340 into an RD640. Same with all the Ethernet compatibility cards. So each of our systems and each of our options are compatible with each of our servers. Want to make sure you guys have that understanding. Now, as we do have to be still somewhat aggressive, price aggressive on our servers, industry open standards on our servers, as well as utilizing IPMI on our servers, we also have to add additional value with regards to our management tools. We have to be able to provide those end-to-end tools so you as the end user can also integrate and install and even manage your entire infrastructure. Now, all of these tools are included in our servers at no cost. The Rack Planner, which is a standalone Windows tool for data center planning and product power and cooling requirements, that is included at no cost, a part of our systems. The Easy Startup Management tool. This essentially enables you to install RAID configurations and full installation of devices and drivers, lets you install the operating systems. It's essentially an easy startup tool to help you install your entire infrastructure. Automatically comes with our systems. Then you have Easy Manage. And this is kind of a hardware health and performance tool. Enables you to kind of manage your network. This comes with our systems at no charge. And then last but not least, we also have our Smart Grid. And this is a power management tool. If you've got racks or groups of servers, you can actually utilize this tool to efficiently manage the power going in and out of either the racks or the servers. As I mentioned before, all of these tools come at no charge with each one of our systems. Now, with regards to operating systems and operating system support, our systems are supported by all the large OS vendors. So whether it be Windows Server, we are certified and fully supported with Hyper-V, Windows Server 2008, 2012, R2, SUSE, all the VMware, Citrix, even Red Hat. Now, there are some smaller manufacturers or smaller OS systems that may not be supported. That's okay, because what we can do is if you are running on a smaller OS that doesn't have that major background, we can actually take it in. I can have my team go ahead and certify these systems. And once we run those testings internally, it will become certified. So just because it's not on this list doesn't mean it can't be. All we have to do is work with you guys as the end users, and we can bring that into our labs and we'll get it all figured out for you. That's the flexibility of Lenovo as well. We're able to work with our end users, support our end users, and make sure our systems are supported on whatever operating systems or software they're using. Take a little break here. Any questions that have come up?
Yes, we do. One person was asking when it comes to your server tower, your tower servers, does it have a slot for a graphics card? And what options are available?
So it's a very good question. We have started enabling some NVIDIA graphics cards. But on this kind of go around right now, we're not fully certified on full graphics video cards. As we start moving forward and up the chain, we will eventually be having the video graphics cards, but right now not fully certified on them.
Okay. Another question we had was, could you please elaborate on the Cascade software for the server?
Sure. So essentially, and what I'll do is I'll kind of add that with regards to the Cascade. For the RAID, you can actually enable Cascade, Fast Cache, and what this really does is it multiplies the speed going to and from the drive. So enables you to get to those systems, get them faster, get the hard drives going, and basically access that speed or access those drives at a faster pace. Plus, it allows for full redundancy should you have any additional battery packed options, and enables you to do a RAID 60 or go higher RAID options for that.
Okay, and one last question. It might be a little broad, but we do have someone who I think is possibly brand loyal to a different type of server. What makes you guys so much better?
What makes us so much better? Okay,
that's the key advantage.
That's okay. So there does can go a lot of ways on that one. I'm going to be honest with you. When it comes to the processors, the drives, the memory, we're all the same. We use Intel. We use the Xeon processors. We use whether it be SAS or SATA or solid state drives. But what Lenovo enables to do is we use industry standard and open standards on our systems. As I mentioned, we also use the IPMI, so should you have any additional third-party server management tools, our systems can run on that. Now, everyone's going to come out and say that, we can run on everyone else's systems. That's actually not true. Everyone's systems are close to a point, but we use the IPMI that enables our end users to actually utilize those pieces. Now, on top of that, you've got the flexibility of using Lenovo from what we're using from a commitment on growth within the sectors. As I mentioned before, we are the only manufacturer that is growing in all 4 pillars of each of those segments, whether it be mobility, PC Plus, tablets, and server and enterprise. So you've got that growth perspective, as well as the partnerships that we've enabled with, whether it be with Microsoft, whether it be with Citrix, whether it be with VMware. So from an enterprise side, we've got those partnerships, and then we've got the IBM acquisition coming in that's going to expand both our product and development tools. Any additional?
I think you covered it all. No,
okay.
Okay, and one other question we have right now is what are your warranties like for your servers and hard drives for the servers?
Great question. So each of our systems, especially on our higher end system, the TS140, we do have a couple models that are just a 1 year next business day, but you can upgrade. All of our systems after that, though, do come with a 3-year next business day warranty. We can upgrade each of those options to essentially customize it, whether it be 24x7x4 support, by 6 support. We can do 9x5. So there's several different options on a warranty and service perspective. It's really up to the end user to decide on which options you want to go with. On top of that, you brought up the fact of what does the warranty cover. The warranty covers the box. It covers everything that is bought and Lenovo branded. So if you do happen to bring in a system and you decide to add your own memory or add your own drives, it will not void the warranty, but we will not support it. Therefore, what we try and do is enable you guys to bring in our hard drives, Lenovo branded hard drives. Therefore, anything that is Lenovo branded or bought with the system through Lenovo is supported. That being said, as I mentioned, it won't void the warranty should you put another option in there, but just want to make sure and be honest with you that we're not going to support those options. Now, when we do talk about those drives, though, there's something that I do like to illustrate and like to let you know. A lot of customers will take a server and think, okay, I'll just go to my local Best Buy or Fry's or wherever you're located and bring in their own third-party drives. There's one thing that's very unique about what Lenovo does. And essentially, when the Western Digitals or the Seagates, all their drives first come off the line, we actually take those in before they go out to distribution or third party. We take those drives in and we take them through additional certification and testing. Those drives that passes those additional certifications and possibly has even a higher mean time between failure rate will then become Lenovo branded. So essentially what you're doing is you're getting drives that have been certified by Lenovo to be able to last longer than those drives that you get either through distribution or off the shelf. That's also included, same thing with the memory as well as the other options. So hopefully that'll give you a little bit more of a better background idea of what we do with our systems from a testing and certification standpoint. Bottom line is the systems that we bring in, we put through additional testing to make sure that they will work and that they're fully supported.
And there was one last question, but you had already talked about it a bit. Someone was wondering if your systems work with VMware, which you do have listed. So is there anything else you want to add about that compatibility?
So we have full compatibility and full certification with VMware. As a matter of fact, this is the first organization I work with, and I have worked at some of the competitors in the past, that they have requested each of their server specialists and sales managers to become VMware certified. So I am, as a matter of fact, as a specialist, a VSP 5.5 certified, and therefore all of our systems are fully certified on VMware. Honestly, I would say from the TS440 and above, that's going to be the best system. The TS140, while it will work with VMware, I'm not a big proponent of recommending it just because it's more of a first server type of system. That being said, though, each one of our systems fully certified. You can actually even buy VMware through Lenovo as an OEM package, or what we consider almost like a ROC package, as Microsoft also does with a Hyper-V. We have levels of technical support. Should you buy the VMware through Lenovo, we can actually even do tech support through that. But all of our systems fully optimized, fully certified, and fully supported on VMware.
Great. That's all we have for questions.
All right. So just get a sip of water here, and we'll head on to the storage product portfolio. All right, as I mentioned before, this is kind of those three areas from a storage market. So when you take a look, the storage area network from a SAN environment, full fiber attached, we don't currently work in that market. As the IBM acquisition is going to be finalizing, we'll be venturing into that market. But that being said, we still partner with EMC, and if you're looking from a fiber attached higher end network, we certainly recommend going from an EMC standpoint. Now, when you do look from a network attached storage, as I showed you before, we have that Lenovo EMC product line. Now, this product can kind of give you a little more background into it. About a year and a half ago, we acquired a 51% stake into the iOmega name. That iOmega name is now Lenovo EMC. We did get rid of more of the consumer-based stuff and focus more on their network-attached storage options. So this gives you the full compatibility from a network attached, and you don't even need a server to hook these systems in. Plug it right into the Ethernet. Management tools are very, very easy to use, and I'm going to show you a screenshot of what one of our storage management tools looks like. But it's great from a standpoint of accessibility. You can line up private clouds, permissions, user permissions. It's even got very easy UI or user interface to access. As a matter of fact, I use one of the PX4 300D 4 terabyte machines at home that I use on a full RAID 5 set. So it's a very, very easy product to use. Now, when you look at, once again, the SA120, that's our next in line from the direct attached storage. And as I mentioned, that was announced earlier this year. Each of our systems, even on the network attached side, can go up to 48 terabytes. And they, with the SA120, you can certainly use that on the back end to use from a solid state drive to get to about 52 terabytes. Now, kind of talk a little more detail about that high quality direct attached storage that we have, the SA120. As I mentioned, you can put 12 3.5-inch SAS drives in there. Now, we are limited on the SAS drive speed. So right now it's 7200K RPM drives. But as I mentioned, it's dual controller, dual redundant power. And the great thing is that it is really just kind of a JBOD. So if you're running out of storage in your server and you need just a bunch of disk that you just plug right in, you add that SAS cable and you're putting it right into the server and you're good to go. The great value of this is that it's very competitively priced. As a matter of fact, I believe our pricing is extremely aggressive on that. But on top of this all, you use your SAS cable, and with those solid state drives, you're enabling that faster cache to go through and through the system. So the 7200 speed is not going to be that big of a difference since you've got that fast cache going on the back end with those solid state drives. As I mentioned, this product can go up to 48 terabytes. It is 12 bays. You do not need to populate all 12 bays from the start. So you can start off with 2 drives, you can go to 4 drives, you can go to 6. It really depends on your needs, but you don't need to populate all 12 drives. And from a connectivity standpoint, this is kind of basically how it looks. So you can do one direct attached storage array into one ThinkServer, dual cables should you want to go for redundancy. You can do 4 servers attached via dual path, and really with a daisy chain option, you can go up to 8 DAS options or DAS SA120s up to for those servers. So you have really kind of a daisy chain option for full redundancy should you want to add on additional JBOD. Now, when we go back into the NAS portfolio, as I mentioned before, you had the iX series and the PX series. The small iX series desktop really fits up to about 25 concurrent users. It is enterprise grade drives, but you're just going to get that kind of consumer base out of that small side. And then when you go up into those medium and large sectors, the PX series, the desktops, that is built up for about 50 concurrent users. Each of these systems as well, fully certified on VMware, fully certified with Veeam and Hyper-V. So they do run those options as well. And as I mentioned, when you go into these PX series, even though they are network attached storage devices, they can be used as iSCSI targets. But please don't confuse that with full iSCSI systems. When you do go up into the large PX series rack mount, this really can fit up to 375 concurrent users. Now you have the options as well on these systems to load them up to 12 bays, or you can go to 8 bays, 6 bays. It really is up to your flexibility on how many drives that you want to install. Now for each of these systems as well, the bays come with their own drive cages. So should you do want to go third party and add your own hard drives, you can, because you're still getting the drive caddies with each of our systems. On the servers, it might be a little bit of a different story. On our servers, and like most manufacturers, you want to bring in the Lenovo branded systems, the Lenovo branded drives, because they come with the drive caddies. Now Lenovo does have a spare parts option should you want to use your own drives that you can get those drive caddies. Wait times are a little bit longer, but we are the only manufacturers that can even do drive caddies on a spare part basis. And this is what I was talking about and looking for you guys before from the UI. What we use is the Lenovo EMC Lifeline Storage Manager. Now this storage manager is actually used on the VNX systems, so you're getting that enterprise grade type of software application at that SMB level. It enables you to really use a simple to set up the snapshots. If you wanted to order multiple systems or have two systems, one in co-locations or as a DR, the great thing is you don't need to add any additional software to do replication. The system uses a lifeline for a like-to-like system that essentially is almost like a heartbeat to and from each other. And the great thing is you can just hit the copy jobs, and therefore now you've got the jobs going, the data being replicated back and forth. As I mentioned, there's no additional software needed for these systems to do backups. We can do SSD cache pools, and as I mentioned, it's got the integrated virtualization extension to allows you to run the VM on the PX series, especially the PX12. Now myself, just as a personal level, let you know, as I mentioned, I've got a PX4 300D running at the home office. What I do is I've set up a private cloud within those systems, and I've got user permissions lined up. Now me being a father of two little ones, I do have a lot of Disney movies. And so those movies are based on my hard drives for my kids to be able to access or for their mom to be able to put up for them. But through the private cloud, I've also invited additional friends and family to be able to access my PX4 300D. So they can go on in, as I sent them an invitation, to access my private cloud, go and utilize either it be the Disney movies or music that I have on those drives. What I've also been able to do is set up the permissions where I don't allow them to access either the confidential financial documents or additional documents that we only want our family to see. This is all done through that single snapshot that you see on the screen right there from that user interface. You can even change RAID levels on the fly. If I have a RAID 5, if I wanted to go down to a RAID 0 or a RAID 1, I can easily change those setups. So it's very easy to use and manage, and this is basically getting that enterprise grade software at that SMB type of situation. So take a quick little break here. Any questions that have come up?
Let me check our social stream. If anybody has any questions, please again submit them in chat. One question that I saw earlier was if you could explain more about the user permissions and how easy is it really to set up groups and to really break that down, because that can be a headache for many people.
Sure, it certainly can. I'm actually going to scroll back one to kind of go back into that screenshot. The only way I can really put it is I had my wife, who is a wedding planner or was a wedding planner, go ahead and set up the permissions. She's had no experience in IT whatsoever, and she was able to set up her permissions, add the users that she wanted in a matter of about 4 to 5 minutes. That's with someone with no experience in IT. I also had her do the same when I received my own demo server unit. It was an RD340. That came in, I had her integrate and install that system. After a lot of yelling and screaming at me, she did it in about 7 minutes. Now, once again, this is someone that has no IT experience. So the fact that most of the people, especially on this call, have some IT experience and or are administrators or programmers, would take just a matter of minutes, just a couple minutes to go ahead and set up the user and permissions. It's really done all through that central file that you see right there on that central screen, and it really is that easy to go in, click on the tabs, add the users that you want, set up the permissions that you want, and move off and do a copy and save. So it literally is just a few minutes.
Okay, and that's the only question
Okay.
we have at the moment.
So kind of in closing, what are they saying about us? You know, as one of the users brought up before, is what makes us different. Some of the things that's really taking notice are the awards that we're winning. Whether it be CRN that awarded us an RD on our RD630 at the time, one of the fastest rack servers, TPC's giving us awards that were beating Dell, HP, and Cisco. LSI is giving us awards that we're beating HP on. We're even winning awards on the aesthetics of our systems, which as an IT person, I was kind of shocked to think that we're actually getting awards on how a system looks. But going back to the CRN award, this was done for an RD630 from a boot up time perspective and a performance time. Now, generally, to let you all know, all the manufacturers, and I'm sure you all know this, all the manufacturers do tend to performance tune for the benchmarks. This RD630 at the time was not performance tuned. As a matter of fact, it was newly announced at the time. It was brought in pretty much right off the configuration lab. So CRN did the tool. We finished actually number 2 overall. We went back to CRN and we were asked them and said, okay, now that this competition is over, can we now do a performance tune to try and match up evenly with our competition? CRN said absolutely, since we were kind of last to the gate on that one. They allowed us to. They did a retest, and we beat Dell in boot times. We boot 36% faster than the Dell machines in that sector, in that segment. So our machines are winning awards while using industry standard equipment, and we're very excited about moving forward, especially with the IBM acquisition. Now, should you want to get some additional information, where can you get it? Well, there's plenty of places to get it. You can either go to the Lenovo website, get virtualization white papers, integration white papers, performance white papers. We have videos, we have case studies. We even have dedicated technical expertise, whether it be myself and or your PCM TSCs or the technical server experts as well. But on top of that, you can go to your PCM rep, and they can essentially get all the information as well for you while utilizing the Lenovo team. As I mentioned, I do cover PCM, and we have Ali right here as well, that both of us can help allocate additional resources to get the information you need. We're also available for additional sales calls, configuration options, conference calls. I do WebExes all the time. So the team that is dedicated will help qualify the entire way, will help you build the system the entire way. Should you have any questions, we can actually do kind of all the heavy lifting, ask you all the questions, make sure that we kind of run by every one of your qualification options, your business needs, and build the configurations that will best fit the solution that you're looking for. So all you have to do is reach out to your PCM rep, or if you don't have one, just reach out to PCM and we'll be more than happy to help you. And as I mentioned, we're growing, and we're growing very fast. When you take a look at a lot of these references, these are all public references that we're using, and it's forcing a lot of our competition to kind of take note and to look over their shoulders at us, especially with the IBM acquisition. We've got some pretty exciting times ahead of us. But one thing I want you guys to take a look at throughout this entire sheet is that one right in the middle where it says Kroger. Kroger was done specifically by PCM, and that was for each one of their brand stores. So you've got a great partner in PCM that works closely with Lenovo to help build the solutions that'll fit your needs. And I'd like to thank you all at this point. As we start to close up, we were able to finish a little early, but are there any additional questions that have come up?
No, we don't have any more questions right
Okay,
now.
so we certainly would be available for additional question and answer sessions, as I mentioned. We're also available, as I mentioned, for additional WebExes, additional calls, anything else that we can do to go into more detail about this. Be more than happy to have those discussions, and we appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Ollie, do
Thank
you have
you.
anything else you'd like to add before we
No,
go?
I think that's it. I think what Dave said is exactly the first step to all of this is, after researching, there's a lot of white papers on the PCM website. We have a brand store there. And also in the Lenovo website, a lot of resources in terms of materials there. But the first step really to get this thing going is contact your PCM sales rep. So they'll be able to get you to the right people within Lenovo and within PCM to help you build the configuration that you're looking for.
And thank you again, everybody, for watching. If you still have questions, don't be afraid to post them in chat or tweet them. We'll make sure that the right person emails you back. So you can always DM us your information or message us on Facebook at PCM. And again, thanks for watching.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.